Hello, how you doing? This is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, and a student sent this, and I thought it was a really good job. So this is part of lesson 59 of my Anatomy 2.0 course, and it's from this photo here. And you can see some things that are different, and that's fine because this is an interpretive sketch. You're not trying to draw exactly what you see. So one thing I can do here is I'm gonna just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Let's cut off some of this here so we can kind of see both things. And I'm going to show how to draw smooth lines in this video, how to get your sketch lines looking nice, and how to be more confident in your line work. And I'll show you that and what what spurred this. Because I got a lot of students that draw like this, and it's anyway. Also, I have a whole entire section in my fundamentals of drawing, how to draw nicely. You can see a lot of things that are different. This leg is kicked out more instead of it should come down more, and this leg should kick out more. Because her weight's on this leg. So this is a little bit strange because now it looks like her weight is on this leg, which is fine. You can transfer the weight to that leg. Nonetheless, though, the leg is going to start from over here more. So you're going to see the gap here. He's connecting all the way up here. It should be more like this right here. So you should make that thinner. So I would stick to the photo more for that one because like where the buttock is comes here and the other leg's going to be there to kind of follow that through. But I think overall this is really nice, and that's probably the only thing I'd really change. Everything else could kind of be the same. I would probably stick more with this though, with the weights on this leg and kind of kick this leg out more. But I mean, overall, I think it works and it's fine. I would just change that line there. Now you can see also her arm comes out forward more and this arm is up more. I would make the arm a little bit longer since it's less foreshortened. You'd have to draw a little bit different to make it more foreshortened. Also, going for more of, looking up at it more. In that case, you're going to see more of this underarm. You're also going to see more of the under part of the face as well, even if she's looking down. But anyway, this video is not about that. This video is about the line work. So let's go to full size here. So you can see here a lot of this line work. He's not confident. Well, actually, I didn't even look at it if it was a male or female. Most of my students are males, so yeah, I think his name looks male. Okay. So we can see here, I'm going to keep the name private. If he wants to share, he can. That's up to him. But you see all these, like he's drawing like this. We're drawing a bunch of little lines, and it's actually hard for me to even mimic that because I'm so used to how I draw. But let me use a different kind of pencil maybe. Or actually, let me make this smaller. So it's like he's making a bunch of lines like this, in order to kind of find the shapes. And there's all these different lines, and it starts looking really messy. And like over here, you can see he drew a bunch of different lines. And I'm so used to how I do it that it still looked better there. And what a lot of people have a hard time with is curves and drawing curves and drawing, circles. So you want to do is you want to kind of just lightly start drawing a circle or the curve you're drawing. Once you see the shape you want, then you come in. You start dedicating, get a little bit harder. That's what's good about digital. Digital allows you to erase it. See, so I like that curve right there. So I went and strengthened that. I ignore the other lines. That's how sketching is done, right? So that's the basic idea. And so if you do in straight lines too, you want to go a line, and you want to try to meet and try to capture what's the shape you're trying to capture there. So when you're sketching, try to be long with your lines and not short. So what I mean by that is when you're drawing this right here, this curve, right? Be long with the line, right? Try to capture that curve with one stroke. So you want to be long with the line like this rather than, right? That's not sketching. I'm not sure how we get the idea that sketching, it feels faster. So when we draw a circle and we're like, making all these little marks, it's like it feels fast because we're drawing all these little lines, right? And it feels faster. But it's actually doing us a disservice. It's actually slower, right? It takes more time to do that than it does to just do a couple invisible lines and then just start to, lightly until you find a line that somewhere in those scribbles, you can find a line that matches and you want to dedicate to that line. And so if you're drawing like a curve right here, right? If I go like this, try to connect with a bunch of lines, that takes longer. It doesn't look as good. if I go along with it and try to capture that line like this. And if I get it kind of wrong, I'm like, okay, I need to come try to correct it. Like, okay, that's the line I want. Boom, like that. And of course, that's why you want to draw the first couple ones lightly. So let's say I'm trying to capture, I don't know, like one of her leg shapes or something, right? And I'm like, okay, so I have up here, I have her buttocks or whatever. I see how I capture the shape I want. Notice I do very lightly. And then when I find that shape I want, I can dedicate my line more to that shape, right? And then, I don't know, maybe the other shape is here, right? Something like that. And then I want to kind of, pull the shape kind of down like this and like that. So I have this basic shape here, and it kind of comes out like that, right? So I want to just kind of find that basic shape first. And so I'm doing long lines, right? Rather than coming in here and doing a bunch of short lines, and then it doesn't look as good, once it's, especially if you're using a really sharp type of like something like this, and you try to come like, well, let's go over here where you try to like connect all those together. I'm actually pretty good at connecting my lines. So, and I did that over years of inking where I can kind of come, but you can tell it doesn't quite look as good as if I just went boom, Anyways, so once you have this, let's go to actual size here. Once you have this kind of shape, then you can come in and start shaping it more, right? Or you can even start with more of a gesture line where you have, something like that. It's just more of a gesture shape. And you can then start coming and, and adding on to that, right? Let's see, do I have the right? Okay, there we go. So this is my favorite thing to draw with. It's this actually comes with the software. It's unchanged. I just change the size of the pencil depending on the resolution I'm working in. This is a higher resolution, so I made it bigger. And that comes with the software. Like I said, over here, you can move this up and down. I have all of them, but if you can't see all of these, you can click here and slide this up and down. So this is Paint Storm, by the way. That's what I use. I think it's right here, this pencil. So this pencil is my pencils, but this pencil here is the one that comes with, and it's the one you want to use is, I think it's the dynamic pencil. No, that's not it. Pencil tilt. There it is. Boom, pencil tilt. That's all I'm using. I just put it here so that I have it and it's ready to rock and roll. And my actual main painting and drawing pencils. Anyway, so you have this shape now, and then you build on that. So you're like, okay, I'm going to start adding more details here, and that's where you can start strengthening the things you like and ignoring those lines you don't like, right? Boom. Pull clear, clean lines. We kind of come like this. We kind of have this shape here for the knee. And it kind of comes down like that. Kind of come in. And then here, I'm going to draw a line like this, a very light line. And then I know this actually comes out like that for the muscle. Boom, that'd be like my final line. And then you can, add, different shapes and stuff in here. I really like some of the shapes that he chose. The kind of comic-y, kind of cool looking shapes, like, there some of them are really nice. I like the ones he chose in there. All right, so something like that. And that gives you, that overall shape you're going for. Oops. I don't know what did I just do there. Okay, cool. Edit, cut. So let's go back to this curve right here. So instead of, having all these lines, which is unnecessary and it just takes up so much, let me erase what I had drawn over it so you can just see what he drew. All right, see all this like scribbly lines and stuff? This is unnecessary. Also, the calf, if you look at it, kind of comes out more like this. I would change that too. I'd make the calf actually come out more because it's kind of being turned toward us. So this muscle is actually going to come, out more about like this here. See, so I imagine I lightly move my pencil over where I want the line to be, and then I start darkening it, where I can kind of start to feel it, and then I darken it. And it just takes practice to get used to drawing these kinds of, curvy lines. But let's go ahead and lighten this real quick. And so if I wanted to capture this line right here, don't try to, capture it with a bunch of movements like that. Try to capture that movement, boom, and just kind of feel that curve out. And you can even start lighter, just go really light where I'm just barely even touching the screen or the paper if you're using pencil and paper. And then you start to fill it out and then start to darken it, boom. Right? And it's the same thing here, like you just kind of feel that shape and if I didn't hit it right, come over it again, right? So you can have more than one line, but the one, and I would start even lighter since I'm drawing over, so it's hard to see how light I am, right? And then that's how like sketches will look. You'll see like if you look at like professional cartoonists and stuff, they're like, okay, I want to capture this eyeball of my cartoon. They kind of go like this. They might have a couple lines, and then they come over and they're like, okay, I want that right there to be the line, and they darken it. Oops. Right, so you might see a couple of these light underlines of stuff, like I don't know if they're trying to like draw a nose here or something, and it's kind of like this. They might hit it right the first time, they might not, so they have a couple. I'm purposely trying to miss it, so you see there's a couple underlines there, right? And then, like this is a really weird looking face. You get the idea. Right, so that's what I recommend is to draw long lines. I mean, short lines when it's necessary, like up here, you can, this is a short line, right? But here, like try to draw that full line sweeping through like this. And then, maybe that line back there, and then you can add some short lines here to shade it, and you get a shape more like this, and it looks a lot more clean. It's also faster, right? It's a faster, so it looks better, even for a sketch. It looks better. It's easier to turn into a final drawing. It's faster actually. So over time, you'll get better and faster at it. So if I wanted to kind of draw this shape here, right, I can imagine that full shape coming through right here, that just full kind of gesture line, and just kind of pull that full line, keep it light. It's like, boom, okay, that's kind of what it looks like. Bam, and then this one is kind of like this and then like that. So I could just sweep another line, right here. This would be like how you do gesture. Boom, like that. And then it would come like this, and I would kind of have the gesture, right? So that's like the basic, right? So I have the basic shape of the gesture. Now, once I have that flow and I see these lines, then I can come in, I can start going, okay, well, the thigh is right about here. And I can kind of imagine, let's say I want the thigh to be like this. I can kind of imagine that kind of oval shape here. And then I have the knee, all right, and keeping it light. Then I have the calf, and the calf is, really exaggerated, so I can kind of pull this out. You can also do like straights like that, So I can pull that calf out something like this, and I can kind of come in about like that, right? So you kind of see the shapes. And once you start to feel and see the shape, then you can go, okay, I want to kind of pull this in right here. I'm going to stick more to the photo like that, and then you can kind of feel that muscle between here. And then this muscle is going to come down and like this, right? That's how it is in the photo. And then we can come down like this and come over here, right? So I'm staying longer with my lines. She has this kind of muscle right here. Let me come up, boom, like that. So I'm trying to feel that line out. And if I don't get it right, then that's fine. I can do it again, right? That is, if I do a light line, it's easy to cover up with a darker line, or so I can do a couple light lines first. And so notice this is in like that. Well, I know her muscle actually comes out like this a little bit because this is the shin muscle, so I can start to draw it out like that, boom. And so yeah, I have several lines here, right? But that's how you want to sketch, is like that. So there's all these under construction lines, and that's fine, but that looks a lot more smooth than if you have, a bunch of lines that are all like this, where you can see all these little lines and they're all scratchy. Where this looks more flowy, even though there's a bunch of lines there, it looks more flowy and stuff, right? And then you can come in and you can erase. You can erase those, oops, I'm on the wrong layer. You can erase those lighter lines. You know, all those construction lines that are lighter. You can actually an easier way to do this, that's how I do it. I make my eraser big. Then I just kind of go over my whole thing really fast like that. And then I can see what I have here. And I can go, okay, I like that line. You know, I like this line. Oops. I don't know what happened there. My brain just geeked or something. I don't know. That was weird. Right? So I can come in here and start to see the lines that I like. Right? And you can't really see those underlines anymore. Then I can go, okay, I know her calf muscle is like this. I think I drew the calf muscle too. Even from the photo, it kind of comes out more like this and then comes in. Yeah, it's about how the photo is. And you have this muscle right here. Boom. And then I'm going to draw part of the calf muscle right here because you can see that in the photo. That's what you drew that line there for. Like that. Anyway, so you get the idea, right? So doing lines like that are going to look a lot more smooth. And then I can come in and start even deleting, erasing some of the underlines even more. Or you can, do the under sketch, what I just did on one layer, make a layer over that, and then do some, not final lines. You're not trying to go for a final drawing, but you can clean those lines up by drawing on another layer on top of it and do more of a final sketch lines, and then you can delete the layer underneath it. Now you don't have to worry about erasing. When I work with pencil and paper, I'll do what I just did. I'll have a lot of construction lines and stuff overlapping each other. And then I'll go through and then darken. I'll add some darker lines. Then I'll go through and I'll erase it with a kneaded eraser. Then I'll go back and re-strengthen those darker lines to make it look cool. Right, so this is what I recommend doing for practice. By the way, this right here would be where I should probably just come in more like that than come like that. Anyway, get the idea. See, even right now when I'm just kind of quickly sketching, right, when I go like that, I'm actually not drawing anything. I'm just feeling out the line before I draw it. And so now let's go in full size there. You can see I made a lot of lines to get the line I want, but it's there. I don't know. It's hard to explain the difference between this, where you can see like the lines and like going like a bunch of, almost like scribbly, like it just doesn't look as good. This looks flowy and smooth. Then I can come back in and I can strengthen. Oops. You can go like that, and then come back in and just strengthen the lines you like. Boom, So even though there's not a whole lot of detail and I'm still very sketchy, those final lines look really nice. And you can do the same thing like here, like with the buttocks, like right there. So you already have lines there. So what you can do actually is just come in here, erase a lot of this. I would draw in another layer, but just gonna erase it real quick. Come back in with more dedicated lines. You'd have like the boom, her buttock here and here. This is gonna be material. So what I love about this pencil is that when you draw on the side, which is how I usually always draw, it has that nice pencil line, right? And if you draw more up and down, you can get this more straight line like that, and then you can draw lines like that. But when you draw it with it slightly tilted like this, and then you draw straight lines next to each other, it almost looks like, shading. It's really cool. And then maybe it's darker here, so you can add some lines here. And then here, so you did like these lines, right? So you could still do lines like that, and then just take this white If you wanted a rim and come back and just go over it with white if you're on digital, or with an eraser, if you're on pencil. Or you can go back with the eraser too. So just pick an eraser and do the size. You can come back and just kind of erase some of that there. But that's how I recommend doing that if you're going to do it. And if you wanted to add some more cross hatching, you can come across this way. Actually, I don't know, that's not good. Some of my lines didn't show up for some reason. Just adding some of the shadow that would be there. Right, but you can see that, that looks a lot smoother. And, it's still a sketch. I'm still working fast. I'm not trying to go for perfection, but it looks cool, right? And see look how many lines there are there, and how sloppy that looks. Well, you can easily fix that. And this isn't following the photo at all. Her thumb actually comes down like this. Like if you look at the photo, that's how her hand actually looks. And that's fine. You can, this is part of interpretive sketching, is to be able to change what you want to change. So I'm just going to leave it there. This isn't quite correct. If her hand were doing this, it's not quite correct. I just want to show the line work, right? So instead, you should try to fill out these lines, try to fill them out. Boom, try to fill the lines out like that, and then you come back in and get sharper, and you can, dedicate. Oops. Right, and it looks much smoother like that, and it's fast. I mean, look how fast I did that. And the same thing is true if you're, inventing it from your imagination, or you're trying to draw what you see, is you want to start with those basic construction lines and kind of feel it out. So let's say I have this right here, right? I'm going to erase some of this here. I'm also going to erase some of this here, just because I want to be able to draw right next to it. So, and I want to kind of feel that shape out, right? So the first thing I do is I go, okay, well, what's this shape? I'm going to make it much bigger. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like that, right? So I'm just kind of feeling that shape out. And we have this kind of straight kind of pole right here, something like that. And then let's kind of go like this. Boom, kind of feel that shape out. You have this kind of, part of the knuckle here. Like so. And then I know the construction of the hand is kind of like this. And then I usually have this kind of almost like a snake head shape here for the thumb. Right, like that. Also, drawing slow with your line is fine. Like, look how slow I'm moving. I'm not trying to draw, my lines fast. Being slow and deliberate with it. It might feel slow, but it's actually faster than if you were just I'm thinking about what I want to draw there before I draw it. And the leg is kind of like here, right? Notice there I had to draw a couple lines, to nail what I wanted, and I can darken it. And just that right there, that's sketching. That already looks tremendously better than if I were to do a bunch of little, scribbly lines. So don't feel like you have to do this. Like, you don't have to move your pencil fast to be drawing fast. That's the main takeaway here. Right? So you can move your pencil slow. I want to kind of add that knuckle right there. And you kind of see the one back here just a little bit like that. A couple lines there. Add that shape here. I would actually left it how I just had it, because that's all I would do for a sketch. Right, there's really no reason to get more detailed than that for a sketch. especially when it comes to hands. But you know, you can come in and add a little bit more detail here. And you can even add in the thumbnail here. So I just want to give a quick example where I'm actually just sketching something I'm looking at, interpreting it, and then how, let's look at it at normal size. You can see a lot of the construction lines I had there, they're still there, but this looks tremendously better, you know, than if I were to have a bunch of scribble lines. And it's fast. You saw how fast I was able to draw that. So especially before I added those final details, if I just left it as my initial like kind of sketch look of the hand. And that's what we want to get used to doing. So you just get used to laying down your construction lines, basic shapes, gesture lines, and then build on top of the gesture lines with basic shapes, and then start to add the anatomy on top of that. And just get used to drawing lightly at first, and then, you know, strengthen the lines that you like. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the basic idea. If you want more details about this whole process of how, you know, the different exercises you can do and stuff to get better with your line, get better at drawing longer lines and not a bunch of little short dashes to make your drawings look better in the end, or your sketches look better too, is take my Fundamentals of Drawing Anything course. And it's on my website right now, masterpaintingnow.com. If you click on the link and it's already expired, because I have to do it every single month and I don't always remember to go update the site to make a sale for it. So if it's not for sale right now, let me know if you really want the course and you want the for sale price, which is like 13 bucks or something, 15 bucks. I can't remember exactly what it is. Something like that. Let me know and I can generate a link and I can post that, you know, for you. So, all right, cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this and keep on drawing, keep on practicing. It just comes with practice, but you have to get rid of your bad habit of drawing short lines. Get used to drawing longer lines. It doesn't mean you never draw short lines. I had to draw a couple short lines here, but you don't want to, you know, draw a long line with a bunch of short lines, right? You want to try to feel the line out. And like I said, sometimes it takes, you know, doing a basic gesture. You can definitely do this, right? You can definitely draw that shape right there, and then, you know, imagine this other shape here coming through, and that starts to create the shape of the leg, you know. You kind of build on top of, you know, you start adding the anatomy on top of that. Boom, you know, you want to just imagine those basic shapes, right? So yeah, definitely do that. You can see all those underlines, but that looks a lot smoother, like I said, than if I were to go in and add a bunch of chicken scratch, is what I usually call it. This reminds me of like if the chicken scratches in a bunch of, you know, areas, and I don't know. That's just, I heard it called that once and it stuck with me, chicken scratch. It's okay. Like it paints a good visual in my mind, like what those lines look like. And so yeah, to get rid of that, these are some of the techniques you can do, and you can also take my Fundamentals Drawing Anything course. All right, that's it. I'll see you next time.